Joining us now is the Pulitzer Prize finalist and journalist who wrote the best-selling book, Case Closed, Lee Harvey Oswald and the Assassination of JFK. If anybody knows about this assassination, it's Gerald. Thank you so much for being here. Listen, you tweeted after this announcement and this executive order, transparency at last. There are a few thousand records that have still been withheld from the public. They're largely redacted or totally redacted. Why were they being withheld?
Yeah, you know, Elizabeth, you and I have talked over the years about some of the JFK file releases, and I never knew we'd come to an actual day in which a president ordered their full release. We have about 3,500 documents, as you said, still there. The CIA and others are fighting over their release by saying, gee, it has a name of a living asset, a human asset, an intelligence agent, someone who helped us. It's got some means of gathering intelligence. Trump is saying, forget all of that. These files are important enough. The American public has a right to know what their government knows about the assassination. And a lot of people have been suspicious, thinking that they're hiding some truth about a big conspiracy in there. So I think this is a good move. The devil will be in the details about exactly what the president, when he says everything's coming out, means, because there are tax files in there. Tax files are supposed to be sealed forever, but he may override that and have those tax files of Lee Harvey Oswald and Jack Ruby and others released as well.
I don't understand, though, the CIA saying there's the name of a living asset. That was 61 years ago. I mean, that living asset would be 80 or something?
They are in their 80s, because you have to think in the 1960s when this was taking place, the assets that they had in Mexico City, where Oswald went only 6 weeks before the assassination, were sometimes people in the federal police or in the Mexican government who were in their 20s, who were providing information over to the CIA. So they're now in the mid-80s to late 80s. It seems as though there would be very, very few of those. And look, I've thought that the CIA has overmade its case. It was trying to protect its own bureaucratic reputation. I think these files it won't prove that they were behind the effort to kill the president, but I think they will be embarrassing to the agency about how much they knew that Oswald was unhinged in the weeks before the assassination. They never told the FBI. So to the extent the files show that, it will be embarrassing to the agency, and it should be, because we need to see these after all these years.
Well, and by the way, so what if it's embarrassing to the agency? And by the way, everybody at the agency probably wasn't, you know, they were kids, if alive, when the assassination occurred. You say that anybody waiting for some dramatic revelation will be disappointed, but could the full release finally put to bed many of the conspiracy theories that still persist?
I think they will put together. There will be no credible evidence, no smoking gun document, so to say, that everybody will say, oh, my goodness, that's it. That's what proves the conspiracy. And I think that's what people are waiting for. They're looking for what I call this X-Files moment. They think they're watching an X-Files that's going to end with this great disclosure. But there will be important information in there. There are still files about the Bay of Pigs, the failed invasion there. There are things about the mafia CIA plot to kill Castro. There's some Mexican intelligence material on Oswald. So we'll fill in part of the history, but I don't think it'll put the conspiracy theories to rest. People will just say, okay, they weren't there in those files, but let's look elsewhere. Maybe President Trump will do what Bobby Kennedy suggested once, which is establish a national commission to look for the files everywhere in the government, and then we'll have this going on for years more.
Listen, I think Larry Sabato said it best when he said, quote, it seemed just so fantastical that one very disturbed individual could end up pulling off the crime of the century. Of course, referring to 24-year-old, he's so young, Lee Harvey Oswald. Then 2 days later, Oswald himself is assassinated by Jack Ruby, stoking more conspiracies. And then we have the revelation that the CIA had been tracking Oswald even as he visited the Soviet and Cuban embassies in Mexico just weeks before the assassination. There's a lot there that looks really fishy.
I agree. And as a matter of fact, when I first approached the case and started to work on it in the early 90s, I thought it was a conspiracy. I thought that Jack Ruby's murder of Oswald was a silencing of Oswald. The mafia was somehow involved. So I looked for the evidence that would say, yes, there was a plot here. I didn't find it. I followed the evidence to eventually conclude it was Oswald alone. That doesn't mean that there weren't conspiracies brewing against JFK. You could have had the mob wanted him dead, maybe the Russians and the KGB wanted him dead. He was trying to kill Castro, so the Cubans might have wanted him dead. All I concluded in the end is that Oswald got there, committed the assassination, and he wasn't working for any of the plotters. He did it on his own.
Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.